Okay. So we'll begin now. I'll try to keep an eye out for anybody else that's coming into the meeting here. Okay. So I got this little document here, right? One sec. Okay. So this is just, Google Doc, right? I like this a lot better than Microsoft. That's just my opinion. But I got, we all have to use Microsoft too. So right here are the instructions on how to install a pixel. We're gonna go through this step by step. When I do this in the real class, when I give the class in person, this is the worst part. This is the worst part. This is the hardest part. This is where everybody gets lost. And there's a bit to it. As you can tell, every one of these little things is another step here, right? So I'm happy to give you a copy of this. So I probably should have posted this into my agent page, but it is what it is. And I'm going to bring this back over here. And so you're going to want to bring up your, one second, let me just move some of these other windows around on my other screen. I'm using two screens here. Okay. So you're going to want to bring up your Facebook ad manager, right? Remember, this class works best when you are using two screens. If you can have my screen on a phone, if you don't have two screens, and then have your computer with you, this is the best way to get the most out of this class for sure. We're going to click on the home button up here. Okay, we got about 14, 13 people in the class. I want to type in the chat box. Has anybody created any graphic design to be able to run their ads with? You don't have to have it, but it really helps, I think, if you have any other videos or if you have any other graphic design. Has anybody gotten that far with it yet before we do Pixel? Just gives me an idea of where we are. Because I mean, you get as long as you want. Okay. So I haven't gotten the other two classes up there yet, but I will do my best to get that up there this week. This one is being recorded as well. Everything has been recorded. And so, okay. Anybody else have any graphic design that they worked on? Maybe a video of yourself, maybe of you, talking about a kitchen while you're in a house that you have listed or something like that? Okay. So, okay. So let's go to, so we're going to go to our home, right? We're going to go to Event Manager. Yeah, please guys, just let me know if I'm to be able to absorb all of this. It's a lot. It's a pain in the butt. I know it, and we'll do the best we can to keep you guys as in here as possible. It's saying my internet is unstable, but hopefully it'll be okay. We are here in Events Manager, and we're going to click on this green button here. Okay. My screen may look different than yours. So we're going to click on Web. You may have to click on like Connect Data Sources. If it says Connect Data Sources, click on that. Something else, you know that I've said this a couple of times. This is the way the software looks today. By Christmas, it can look different. And it's up to us to keep up with the changes that Facebook makes. Facebook is a fast moving target, and it's up to us to keep up with it ultimately. Okay. So I'm going to click on Web, right? Because you may have to click on Connect Data Sources, then click on Web. I'm going to click on Pixel. I'm going to name our pixel. You can name it, I don't know, we'll do it test, right? Continue. So now what we're going to do is we are going to insert the code manually. And it's going to give us all this stuff that we don't understand what this is, right? It's a bunch of code and all this other jazz. So we're going to click copy the code. And we're going to go to our next page, which is going to be KV Core. From here, we're going to go You already lost? Okay, okay. No problem. Start over again. Are you at least on this screen? No problem? Sure. So are you at least on this screen? So when I go, look like this, when I go home, we hit Events Manager, right? I'm gonna hit the green plus. Okay, it's no problem, guys. If you're lost, we'll go slow. Try and go as slow as possible, slow as we need. So are you guys in Events Manager? You can unmute yourselves and talk. It's okay. Okay. So we're gonna hit connect data sources. So, okay, hang on. If you're not in Business Manager, then you are on a different, you're on a different level than we are. So Business Manager is Facebook's back-end dashboard on running the ads, basically.
So how do you get to Business Manager?
You go to Business Manager or Facebook Business Manager, you just go in here.
Through the old Facebook page? Because now we have the new Facebook page, but I think in order to do this, we have to go to the old Facebook
You go to
page.
type in business.facebook, it'll bring you here. It'll bring you to a, I'm already logged in, so it'll bring you to a login page.
Okay. That's what I don't have.
Okay. Okay, so the class is being recorded. Yeah. So, okay, do you guys, everybody up to where we are so far? All right, Business Manager. And then Events Manager. You want to make sure you have KV Core ready as well. Okay, so we're going to go to Events Manager. I'm going to hit the green plus. You're going to click on Connect Data Sources if you haven't been here before. And you're going to click on Web. You're going to click on Pixel. I'm going to name it. You can name yours whatever you want. And that gives us, oh, I'm sorry, you're going to install manually. And then it gives us our code here, right? Let's just leave this here for a second. We could just click copy code, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna go from here, everybody caught up so far? So from here, we're gonna go to KV Core. And here is your homepage for KV Core. All right. So from here, we're gonna go to Web and IDX. Then we're going to click on Edit Settings right here. Guys, with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can open a new window. You'll need to open a new window. Gian, is that how you say your name? Gian, I'm sorry. I'm going to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. So you open a new window and then you get into your KV Core page. And once you're here at Web and IDX and then customize or edit settings, you're going to be looking for header, custom header, which is right here. You come back here, or well, I don't know, it's getting this here, but right when you have that clicked, forgive me. Right when you have this copy code, you have this copy to your clipboard, right? It's as if you hit Control C or if you hit right click copy, and then you're going to come in here, you hit Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac, highlight everything, and then paste your pixel into custom header. And then hit save. So I know that's a lot. I know it's a lot. We can go back and do it again. Remember, guys, you can unmute yourself and ask questions if you want. It's okay. Again, I'll show you how we got there. Homepage on KV Core. Web and IDX. Watch this. Let me, I'm going to copy and paste this into the, what do you call it? Into the chat. That's that. That's from Facebook. And this is, and I'll give you guys a copy of this Word document later. Also, there's other stuff on here we're going to need. So once you're in Business Manager, oh, I'm sorry, once you're in the KV Core, right? Web IDX, click Edit Settings. And now you're just looking for custom header. You're going to paste the pixel into custom header. Okay. How are we doing so far, guys? Like I said, when I teach this class in person, this is definitely a part where people get lost, and it's okay.
So far, so bad. I'm lost. But anyway, I follow you on YouTube. So in YouTube it's easier because I could just stop and rewind and go back and do it again. But at least what I'm doing now is just watching the whole thing. And when I go back to YouTube, I could do it,
Do it again.
step by step.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to go at the same time on your computer and do it on.
It can be. That's why I try to do a lot of stops and a lot of pauses and stuff.
It's a lot of steps. So I'm just.
Yeah, so it's at least being recorded. So that's the best part. You'll be able to follow back up with it. I have to get the other ones up here too. This is Ryan is really helpful. Ryan from corporate is super helpful with getting me the videos. I just haven't had the time to upload them is really what the challenge is, So, okay. So what you'll do is you will paste you're going to paste this copied code from the pixel into here and then save it. Okay, I already have one in here, so I'm not going to save mine. If you're running this from if you're doing like a lot of work on your own, like if you have your own WordPress site or something like that, that's not something we're going to really be able to cover here. I run a WordPress site. I have a pixel running on mine, and it's way more than this training can really get into. But if you're running your own WordPress site, you should be able to insert a pixel pretty easily. It's not that bad, but it's some work. It takes some time. So, okay. So here we go. So now we hit save. We come back here. We continue. I'm going to turn this on. I want to try to gather as much data as Facebook will give me. It's not going to give me everything, but it'll give us some things. Continue. You can add this event code, but from here, you can basically just click out of that. Okay, everybody caught up so far? I'm gonna move on. We're gonna come back here, right? We are in Ads Manager. And one second, let's move some things around here. So, okay, right, all I do is click on the ellipses up here. Click on the ellipses, and we are back into, we're going to go back into Ad Manager again, right? Okay, and here is these are all of our basic ads, because remember, we're in campaigns. Does anybody have any questions about this setup here with these top tabs and how this gives us different views and how you understand that this is a different part of the ad, each of these, right? This is the type of ad, this is who is seeing it, and this is what they're seeing. Do you guys have any questions about how Facebook has this all structured here? Because everything pivots on this basically from the whole time. And moving forward today, we need to make sure that we have that really tight as far as I'm concerned. You guys okay with this structure here about how Facebook has this divided? Okay, so, okay. So from here, I'm going to share this again here. I'm going to share that the same little Word document I have here. Again, you guys are all welcome to a copy of this. Let me just throw my email in here if you don't already have it. Hang on a second. That's correct. Okay. Well, so what you can do is you can email me. Just email me after the class. You can send the email right now if you want. And I will email you a copy of this. Okay. This isn't something that I'm going to like blast out to the entire database. And so if you don't tell me individually that you want a copy of this, then I won't know who to send it to. So, okay, right. On the top, it has the pixel instructions that we just went over. This is basically what I just copied into the chat just a minute ago, right? So remember that we have detailed targeting that we're focusing on and the ad copy. And what I did was I went in here and I copied a bunch of ad copy from the internet of things that I like, right? And we went over this last week or the week before. And so, just sorting this out a little bit differently. Okay. You guys remember why we need all of these? Remember why we need all of this different ad copy, right? Because we are going to make, because I have detailed targeting, multiples of my detailed targeting, and multiples of my ad copy. And if you guys remember why, it's because, let me switch over here. It's because we are going to run multiple versions of our ads. That's how.
Hey, Brian, sorry.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
So after I was switching my computer because I cannot talk on my desk. After I hit add and web and I do next and I hit pixel, the Facebook, and I hit connect, it didn't show me the window you have where you put the names and you copy the links, all that stuff.
1 second. Do you like have it listed here on the left?
Yes. So I just have the file over there on your left.
You have it here?
Use the file offline. I don't have anything else.
File offline. So this is where me not being able to see your screen runs us into a problem sometimes. So what I might try to do is I might start again. If maybe there was an error somewhere, I would do it from the beginning. You know, just hit the green button again, just run through the steps.
Oh, right there.
You do this
Now I refresh the screen and let me. Yeah.
Worked.
So what name is gonna put? Any name?
Whatever you want.
Okay. And then I just put the name and hit continue.
Yeah.
Perfect. I have it over there.
Okay.
And how I copy the link?
So there should be a link, a button that says copy link or copy code or something.
I should hit install code manually.
It's not even let me create another one. That's crazy. Create multiples usually of this. Let's go in here and try swap accounts real quick. No, I already have pixels created on both. Okay. Interesting. You usually can make multiples. Here they are.
Perfect. I have the code already.
Okay, so you have the code. You're going to go to KV Core.
Okay.
Right. Here's your home page on KV Core. You're going to go to Web and IDX on the left side. Edit settings.
Perfect.
You're going to go to scroll down to whatever, a third of the way down or so. Go to custom header.
Okay.
And then just paste it. You know, you want to highlight everything that's there. You put the cursor in there, hit like Control A or Command A. Paste
So I'm gonna delete whatever is in there already, right?
You're gonna copy over everything that's in there, yeah.
Okay. And I
save.
paste the new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you remember we're gonna need KV Core eventually again. Hopefully there's enough time in this class, we'll see. Because we're gonna go back to the MLS and we're gonna go back to the KV Core and we're going to build our squeeze page to be our destination page for our ads, right? At least for this ad. So you get back here, then you're gonna save and continue through those. We're gonna get back to our ads here. So we're gonna make, next class, we'll probably have to do the next, we'll do the next one in the next class. I'm trying to go as basic as we can at first. So remember at first, right, we're building a traffic ad. Next week, we will build a lead generation ad and things are gonna look different on the back end as well. But so, right, we're gonna keep ourselves on a traffic ad. CPO on. You don't want to pay 20 bucks a day. I don't know, whatever number you want to put there. You put $3 to start, $5. Right? Destination is going to be a website. And okay. So I'm going to spend some time here for a little bit. So if you can, I'm going to show you this other page here again, 1 second. So what we're going to focus on is the location of this pin. I make notes for myself when I make ads, and I make notes in these types of Word documents, right? And so as you can tell, I have my detail targeting here, which is the part we're going to focus on for now. The pin is in Kissimmee, and when there's no detail targeting, it's about 1.7 million. Okay, and we're going to come back to all this in just a second because I can't swap between two screens the way I'd like here. So, okay, right. So the pin is in Kissimmee right now because the listing we were using for the last class, and this is just from the last class, basically, right? So we cannot use zip code. We cannot narrow down any further than 15 miles, right? Because Facebook is going to give us limitations here. And so we're going to work around those limitations in some ways. And so remember, because we can't change age and we cannot change gender, okay? We can, however, change languages if you want to run them in Spanish, if you speak Spanish, and if you just want English because you don't speak any other languages, you can swap that in here too, right? So when we go English, US version of English, it's going to change some of this, but not too much, right? Because I have all of these. Let's talk about detail targeting, right? So we got some detail targeting what we want to get into. And these are the tools that we use to narrow this down. Let me just clear these out here real quick. So when I type in English, I get a little bit less of a potential reach. I'm also making notes in that in my document as well. So remember, we have the target here in Kissimmee, and within there we have 1.5 million folks, right? The problem is when we run an ad for $5 a day, we're not going to really get the best penetration on 1.5 million. We need to narrow this down a little bit. This needle used to be a lot more sensitive, used to move a lot more, but it doesn't really actually anymore. We'll see what happens here. So what we got to do is we need to get this to people who are looking for houses, right? And we need to get people who we think can be consumers for us, right? So there's a lot of different ways to narrow this down. We're going to type in, we know that first-time home buyers are a big part of, we're definitely not going to type in this one, but type in first-time home buyer. So what happened was that, what was it, 1.5 million, 1.3, whatever it was, just went to 200,000 just by adding this one interest in here. We can add more, right? Some of those people who are first-time home buyers are house hunting. Went up a little bit higher, right? Because it's whoever is a first-time home buyer and is house hunting. Well, it's either one, I think, actually. Yeah, it's both. It's one or the other. But we need, this is still kind of too big of a target audience also. So what about people who are also renting? It's going up. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this here. So this is all of the people out of that 1.5 million who are first-time home buyers, who are house hunting, or who are renting. But what about all of those that are also interested in swimming pools? Now, the number is beginning to decrease, right? What we can do is we can narrow this even further. And we can narrow this to people who are into dog training. Now, that just went to whatever it was, 230,000 to like 43,000 people, right? And so keep in mind, when you run your ads, you don't have to run ads at people who are interested in swimming pools and dog training. You can run it at anybody you want, any demographic you want. I'm looking for those, like people who are into dog training may not be renting apartments so much, or maybe they don't have the space to have a bunch of dogs because it's hard to rent and have a lot of dogs, you know? It's hard to rent if you even have 1 or 2 dogs. But people who want a dog train need a little bit more space. So I try to like hack this system with some of these ideas because, you know, people who are looking to buy a house and they're house hunting and they're doing swimming pools, that they're, all of these things sort of trend in the same direction. But really more importantly is I got that number down below that 230,000 mark. And I'm really only running $5 a day anyway. And I'm only going to get this in front of, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand people a week if I'm lucky, right? So I'm not even going to get my ad in front of all of the 43,000 people. But look at my needle. My needle still hasn't even moved. I think this thing is broken on Facebook, if you ask me. We can continue narrowing this down and maybe the needle will move, but we don't want to narrow it down so much where we don't actually have an audience, right? So, okay. Does anybody have any questions so far on what we just did? Because what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to sort this out a little bit more, right? I added, when I ran this originally, I didn't add sorting out only people who spoke English. So this number is a little high and this number is a little high now, but no big deal. So these are some other market segmentations that I use to get these things down, get these numbers down to a more reasonable place. So when I take it in English, right, it goes back to 45,000, right? Okay. Anybody have any questions right now? Because we're gonna go further here. So okay. So we're gonna go to manual placements. All right, this is all set up exactly the way it was from last week, if you remember, or the week before probably, because we did Canva last week. And I'm gonna turn off everything except for the feeds in the Facebook and the feed in Instagram. And that's it. That's all I want, right? Because Stories has a completely different format for the graphic design, different aspect ratio for the graphic design, right? So, you know, I see how this is this nice long rectangle, but the Instagram and Facebook feeds are closer to squares than they are these long rectangles. So our ad is not going to work well. It's not formatted for Stories. We definitely want this turned off. So Facebook gives us the option to run it while they're watching videos, which I'm definitely not interested in. We're not even running a video ad. We're only running still images. So if we're going to run a video, if we're going to try to advertise in videos, we at least want to run a video, in my opinion, at least. So some of these are the things I can search. You know, when I'm on Facebook, I'm just thinking about my own behavior. If I'm watching a video, I don't want to look at ads. I don't ever want to look at ads anyway. And guess what? Guess who doesn't want to look at ads either? Everybody else. Nobody likes ads, right? But if we can get them natively, like in just these places where they're used to seeing them, get a little bit of a higher result, you know? Facebook doesn't like this because Facebook wants to run ads in all of their locations. And they're going to tell us eventually somewhere along the line that we're going to pay a little bit more for our ad when we do this, but we're gonna do them anyway the way we want them. All right. So now keep in mind, this is I got multiple Facebook pages that I run ads through, and I do not have those going to my cell phone. I have a personal ad account, a personal account on my phone. So I have messengers. I never run anything to Messenger. There are a lot of people that are getting really good results running ads to the messengers. If you're going to get if you're running your business Facebook page through your phone, I recommend using it. I just don't use it. So I don't really, I mean, I know how to run it. I just don't teach it really. You know what I mean? I'm only teaching you what I'm doing because that's, you know, I'm trying not to teach you anything that I'm not doing ultimately. So If I ever run Messenger, I'm happy to share what I learn on that. I just don't have, the time to sit there and just deal with the Messenger all day long because, I'm going to get off this call here and then do a bunch of other things today. But it's definitely something I'm open to in the future for sure. We are running it into link clicks, and I would avoid these two bottom ones. I've been playing with these through the years, and these are better for branding ads, but we don't want branding ads. We need their contact info, right? So we need to get them to our landing page, right? We need to get them to our page. So, okay, we give it one more look up here, right? Because to be able to hit manual placements to change these around. And okay. Also, let me see what we have up top here, right? Okay. So we're going to need to start naming these ads in a little bit. We're going to name these ads a little differently because we're going to start separating our ads soon. Well, let's go to our last page, right? Because this is who is seeing it. And now here is the creative. This is what they are seeing. If you have an Instagram account, you have to link that through here or else you won't be able to run your ad through Instagram. There's a way to connect that in here. But I'm going to have to leave that for you guys to figure out for right now, because we don't always have all that much time. So, okay. This is a graphic design that I created last week in Canva. Again, this isn't something that you have to use. Obviously, you can just make all of these yourself. It's a listing agent or a buyer's agent talking to them about houses and homes sold fast. This is almost sort of like a for listings, maybe, I guess you would say, right? Even though it's advertising a listed property. So, okay. So let's just say we go with single image for right now. So now, okay, this is where things start to get interesting. So you see how we have this primary text here, right? And you see here it is here, and it is also populating to our ad here. And then on the bottom here on Instagram, right? This is your Facebook ad, this is your IG ad, and this is where this text is going to appear. And remember, we want to spend some time in here and really understand what the user's experience is going to be when they see all of this. Because I spend a lot of time thinking about what words and characters and emojis I want to use in here. And there's a whole, cottage industries built on this exact kind of a thing, as far as like the ad copy works and how these things are written. I love this kind of thing because I'm super interested in it. I think it's very interesting. And so what I do is, remember we talked about this last week, we go into this place up here, it's the Facebook ad library, where you can see everybody's ads. And here's politics and stuff, right? You can see this is how much Biden spent on his Facebook ads in the last month, and this, or the last year, right? January to November. And this is how much Trump spent on his Facebook ads. They actually tell you, which I think is pretty cool. So we can go to housing and we can look at other real estate ads, right? And so I can just click on one, and something to keep in mind here, these folks, real estate hot deals, are running 140 Facebook ads right now, currently, as of less than 24 hours ago. That's a lot of ads. That's a lot of thoughts and ideas that these guys put into writing all of this ad copy and the science behind these pictures, right? By the way, I mean, you can easily take a photograph of a house and just add this on the bottom of it in Canva, right? You remember where we talked about how easy this is? You can make this in 5 minutes once you have a Canva account and you play with Canva for more than an hour. So this is a super easy thing to build. But what I'm interested in is, I know already that whoever's doing this, if they have 140 ads, that means they're paying professionals to build these ads for them. That means they spent a lot of time thinking about this, and they spent a lot of time thinking about this. Okay, so I don't need to overthink this. And what I did was, for the purposes of this class, I went in there to a bunch of the pages that I kind of follow from time to time, and I copied all their ad copy. And you can too. This is not copywritten. You can do whatever you want with this. This isn't like trademarked where, that says a Coca-Cola, this is it, or Nike, just do it. You can just come in here and use it, So we're going to need a bunch of this because remember, we're running, 9 ads at a time. Ultimately, we will be running 9 ads at a time. And I need as much of this ad copy as possible because it's enough of a project just to set these ads up. Okay. I'm going to put this back over here, and this is why you definitely want a copy of this this Word document, guys. Sorry, wrong thing. Because you can see I've done a lot of the work for you guys. This is super easy. This is a copy and paste kind of a concept here. I mean, here's how to install the pixel. The detailed targeting is a copy and paste. Add copy, copy and paste. So we're not running, we may not end up running an ad at the end of this day yet, but we will definitely have, the only thing that I don't have that's a copy and paste is your videos of yourselves selling a kitchen and all that stuff, and your graphic design. You're gonna have to make your own graphic design. But I mean, this is as cheap of a way to do this as possible. We're doing this, other than paying for the ads, everything else is basically free, okay? So what we're gonna do is when it comes to primary text, and the reason we have all of those different versions of it is we're gonna add another, and we're gonna add another, we're gonna add another, we're gonna add another. You can add up to 5, okay? So I'll leave one here, and then again, I'm doing this because I have, I'm gonna hit copy. I have 2 screens and I'm doing just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm add, and paste. And I come back in here, and I come in here, and you see how one is longer than the other. It's because these guys have figured this out, that they know that not everything works and everything doesn't work at the same time. I wish I had a better explanation for this than that, but that's the way it goes. Everything works and everything doesn't work. This one's a little more complex. You got to do a little market research, see how many houses are on the market in Winter Park. I just do Winter Park in there as a placeholder, and even when they're even adding the website in here as well. But we don't have the time for that, so we're just going to go copy another one of these. And I like looking at what smart people are doing. Stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So much easier than me having to figure it out. And then we come here. Now, one of the things I'm looking for is, does any of this have, I'm running it in Kissimmee. So is there any other towns that this is suggesting? So it's not, I haven't copied like, Dallas, Fort Worth or something into an area that they're not in. Okay. So see, we have headlines here. We can do the same thing here. We can add up to 5. Facebook will run all of this and then let us know which one is working better than the other. Description, same thing as well. Now, all I did on this description, if you remember from 2 weeks ago, is I just copied this right directly from the MLS, right? Because that realtor hopefully put a lot of thought into how they want this to sound, and talking about fireplaces and pools and whatever else that the property has to offer that makes it appealable, right? So let's just say, for the purposes of this discussion and this illustration, we are going to leave these blank just so we can move through. We don't want to waste all our time on all these details, but you get the picture on all of this, right? Anybody have any questions about this so far? Yes, Deborah, the training is being recorded and will be accessible to you again. Anybody have any questions up to here so far? It's quite a bit, guys. I am aware that this is kind of a lot of content. I've been running these for years and years, so this is a comfortable place for me. But if this is like your first couple of weeks doing this, I understand that this very well may not be, But you can unmute yourself and ask whatever you want to ask, guys. This is kind of like, once we get through a bunch of these lessons, this is going to turn into a workshop where I'm going to bring up a bunch of ads and I say, hey, look, I've been running this for 2 weeks and these are the results I'm getting. And maybe you can say, well, I've been running something that looks a little different and you've been getting better results. And we can share, remember, because we're not really running these at the same audiences anyway, and we're not really competing against each other at all, So can you advertise somebody else's listings? Well, yeah, sort of. If you have their permission, you can. But this is sort of a gray area, because remember, if you're a real estate sales associate and you're hanging your license at the Lake Nona branch, those aren't technically your listings. Those are technically Norky's listings, right? Or they're Joe LaRosa's listings, wherever you are. So those are the broker's listings more than they are yours. But the right thing to do technically is to ask their permission. That would be my official statement, is to ask their permission. Most of the time, you're going to get a yes because people want free advertising on their properties. Anytime I've ever asked a realtor if I can market their listing, they always say yes. I think I had one person tell me no through the years. And I don't even remember why they said no, but I mean, who doesn't want free marketing? I mean, you're throwing your money at an ad that hopefully you can get somebody else, I mean, it makes sense, right? So I'm copying that listing description. Yeah. So because I was advertising that particular property in that ad without their permission. But I'm doing this as a demonstration, like, is that, Bob Armstrong told me this phrase. Because when you take a listing, goes depending on what kind of realtor you are, you don't want to just do the 3 Ps, right? It says post a sign in the yard, put it on the MLS, and pray. So if you can show, especially if you're trying to get a listing, and you can show, you can just walk right into somebody's house and be like, check out my Facebook ads dashboard. I'm running ads for every listing that I have, and I'm not just waiting for a buyer to come to me. I am going to the buyers to try to sell your house as aggressively as I can. And in addition to that, if you have been marketing deep into a neighborhood, you can say, look, I have 70 people shopping for houses in your neighborhood right now, in your zip code currently. And it would take very little, a click of a button, and swap out some graphic design in a website for me to add your listing to that group of people who are looking at it. I think that's in a way more aggressive way than just simply putting it on the MLS and hoping Zillow brings you a buyer somehow, or hoping they find your listing on Zillow or something. So I think that this makes you a way more valuable realtor to list somebody's property. Because also, by the way, guys, did you notice that the stock market went crazy today? I didn't even talk about this in the beginning of the class. You know why the stock market went crazy? Is because Pfizer has a stage 3 vaccine that they think they're really confident in, and it blew up the stock market. So they said that they're 90% sure about it, or it works at a 90% degree of accuracy. It requires two taps to get it. They only have 50 million of these things so far, but the market has responded to that, and that's what so many people seem like they're waiting to sell their house for. And now that we have a vaccine here, there's all this optimism. Listing ads, I would be running listing ads aggressively, like really, if not now, really soon, because time is of the essence right now, guys. Because if that's the thing that everybody's waiting for, remember, what is it? I talked about this in my morning video maybe a month or two ago, about how, I forget the number, like 70-something% of buyers or sellers will list with the first realtor they talk to, So if you're the first one there, it doesn't matter if you have less experience than another realtor, they'll simply use you. So let's talk about something else here. So we're going to talk about another graphic design piece here in a second. So, okay, this is our copy paste of our KB course squeeze page that we made already. If we have another second, we'll talk about how we built this, but this is super easy. Pixel is activated. Okay, we would be ready to technically run this one ad. Now I don't know if we're gonna have time to get into duplicating that. We'll probably do that next week. But if you wanted to run a single individual ad, you could. I don't ever recommend running an individual ad. I recommend running 9 at a time. That's also why we need so much of this, and that's why we need all of our other stuff, all of our other different demographics, right? So, okay, remember, this is what we need to get around. The thing that I'm going to teach you now is important for this dynamic. So remember, if you've been doing this for a while, you know that this ad platform used to be really, really good years ago. But Facebook keeps getting in more and more trouble at the federal level. And they had said that they are running non-compliant real estate ads, or not, they were violating fair housing laws when they pick a zip code and they can sort out a bunch of the population. So we have this limitation on 15 miles here on Kissimmee, which runs us all the way down to Deep Poinciana, Eastern Haines City, and all the way up to what is this, 408? 408, what road is this up here? Is 408? Anyway, maybe it is. But I mean, people who are shopping up here may not be looking down at Kissimmee. And so we have to in my opinion, this is just way too many people to run an ad at. But we're limited to what Facebook has. It's the cheapest way to run ads is through Facebook, and it's the best bang for the buck. It's better than anything else, right? So we have to get around this somehow. So how are we going to sort out the people who are looking at it, who are only looking in the Kissimmee area? One of the ways is by putting in the description that the house is in Kissimmee. One of the other ways, and we were working with a group that was running them like this for quite a while, and they were working well, is you come in here to Google Maps and you simply do something like this, right? You center this a certain way, and I mean, this is kind of okay. And then you simply, you know how to use this tool, right? Snipping tool. Pull this over here. All right, you hit new, and you simply just copy a piece of this. That says Kissimmee. Maybe a little bit bigger than that area that I'm going to use it in. And then, I mean, that's it, right? We're going to come here, hit save. Capture Kissimmee, pick. Okay. So I have that saved. I'm going to come back to my ad manager. And now on my next ad, right? Because I already have one that comes on here. When I use another ad, I'm going to add my image. No, where is it? Single. How do I add another image? Okay. I'm going to change the image. I'm going to upload that. And they're simply just running an ad with the map to help sort out that database that we're running to that's so big, right? So now remember, this is not formatted correctly for Facebook because I don't have it's a square, right? So if we can crop this, put it in the Kissimmee. If these letters could be bigger, I would prefer that. But, you know, whatever, we can make it smaller like this and whatever it is, right? And so now when a buyer sees this, even though we're running ads at everybody up there by Colonial or they're north of Dr. Phillips and Windermere, this will just sort of sort them out, right? And if maybe you want to run a slider on this, right, or carousel, right, where we hit carousel and then we add this in here and then we add a picture of the house or another house or two afterwards, maybe a video in there of you walking them through the kitchen, and then on your final slide, it's that image of you standing there looking proud as a realtor and with your contact info or something else, something simple where it has your smiling face there, right? Looking as approachable as possible. And so this is a tool that we would use to simply get around the fact that we're stuck running ads at all of these people in this big area that Facebook forces us into, right? Because we're stuck, we have to find our way around this. In addition to that, remember years ago that this had everything in here. There were so many other things that we could sort them into because Facebook used to give us credit score. It used to give us liquid assets. It would give us, you know, total net value of all of their portfolio and everything. Facebook has a ridiculous amount of information about us on the public. You wouldn't believe it until you actually saw it. How many children are in the house? You know, even literally credit scores between 640 and 700. We were able to run ads on all of that, but all of that is gone right when we run a real estate ad because we have to come in here, remember, and we have to click on our special ads category and use housing, or else we will never get our ads approved. We got to follow their rules, but it's not the worst deal in the world. Anybody have any questions so far on what we just went over? Again, guys, I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. So what we're going to do next week, and I think next week, basically, we're gonna be able to run an ad next week, and I'm gonna try to get these other videos up there, so you guys can backtrack and get caught up. So at the end of the class next week, we should be able to activate an ad. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to click on here, and we are going to come into here. Come in here. We're going to end up duplicating the ad, and this is where things get fun. This is where things get really fun. So, because fundamentally, what I want you guys to understand is that when we run this image, let's just say we run this image right, at this audience right here. If I ran that ad 10 different times, I'll get 10 different results. Monday, I run the ad from Monday to Thursday. Facebook does its learning process, and then I get a certain response. I run it on next week, I get a different response. I was running these ads with large offices, right? Large real estate offices. And I can't explain it how this was working. We were running a dozen of these at a time, running at around $1,500 to $2,000 a month on a budget. And we would get up 9 ads at a time. I mean, less than I'm even going to show you. We were running them at around, I don't know, 9 or 10 ads at a time, right? I think my memory serves me. And week 1, 3 of them are operating well and they're performing, we're getting results. Week 2, the other 3 are now working and the first 3 are not working at all. And with no explanation, we haven't changed anything. We're running the same budget. And then next week after that, the other 3 are now finally operational. And then back and forth and back and forth, and with no rhyme or reason or any way that we can even be able to predict these things. It's a finicky thing, but it is what it is. I don't know if Facebook's ever going to adjust this, because one of the challenges is that this audience, you know, there's 3,000 people that'll see it, 1,000 people, maybe, I don't know. Next week it'll be a different, you know, the other ad is a different 3,000 people of this same audience. And the audience is going to decide on how great of an ad this actually is, right? The audience is the one that decides, and Facebook understands that. Facebook wants things that are popular, positive, and engageable. And maybe this image is interesting to some people, maybe it's not. Maybe that's why we run multiple ads, because we don't know what's going to really necessarily work, right? So we just have to throw as much spaghetti at the wall as possible. We'll turn off all of the things that aren't working. And then when we have things that are working, we will employ another strategy. Okay. So, okay, guys, hang on a second. If you guys want, I see you guys are posting your, one second. I see you're posting your emails in there. Let me just copy that into here. If you guys want to email me, it might be easier, but one second. I will gladly give you a copy of all of this. You are going to need this. My email, I copied in there a little while ago. Hang on a second. Okay. That is my email.
Question. Brian.
Yep.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Do a class, or do you have a class on YouTube only for the graphics part of the advertising?
Yeah, I did it last week. It's the Canva class.
It's the Canva class. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was recorded, at least. I have to get with Ryan and get them downloaded, and then I'll either upload them to my YouTube page. When I upload them to the YouTube page, I will post something in the My Agent account directing you to those, or letting you know that I added them up there.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So remember, when you see this, if I have this thing highlighted, it means the neighborhood that you want to add in here, the name of the neighborhood. Again, you could just swap that out, because that's what I put just to have a filler there, right? And you want to make sure you look through these and see how that works, right? So if you have something like this, like on this one, it's like, it's showing them how much the house, what they bought it for, and what it's worth now. I don't know if there's something you're allowed to post or not, off the top of my head. See why not, but if you have a way for them to do a, I have another thing that you can add into your website for that, but it's a whole nother class for that. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody else want to throw their email in here, and then I'll get this out to you in a few minutes here. Anybody else want to ask any other questions? It's okay. Remember, guys, I know that there's quite a bit to this for sure. Once you get used to this, once you get used to all of the interface and the way everything looks, it is it is going to take you, it will not take you that long to put an ad together. Okay. I mean, it does, it takes you a little bit, but it doesn't take days, you know. Once you have a lot of this stuff pre-written and you don't have to think about it in the moment, and it's just copy paste, it's a heck of a lot easier to run these for sure. Now, again, you don't have to use these, but remember, people who get paid wrote this. Somebody is their only job is to figure out what to put in those things. So no, we use Pixel for something else. Shang, is it Shang? I don't want to say your name wrong. Pixel is so when they click on our ad, we can get their info and see other things about them. Facebook is so sneaky. Oh my goodness gracious, aren't they so sneaky? And it's time for us to use some of their tricks to our benefit. You know, keep in mind, this is the way that this is for now, and they keep getting in more and more trouble, and privacy becomes more and more of an issue every day. Every day, privacy is more and more of an issue. And so who knows how much longer Facebook's going to be able to give us access to them. A couple of years ago, I remember Zuckerberg came on one of his little announcements and said that he was considering wiping all of the data that Facebook had about all of its users. And if that were to happen, I don't know what this ads platform is going to look like. So what I had said in my first class or second class is that, remember, the goal for us is to be developing a database that we can market to for years and years and years. Because you know, we're like subject to whatever Facebook gives us. And if they decide to wake up one day and just click one button and lock us out of what, you know, we think is really beneficial, we may not have a database to really run at. So we need to gather up as much data as we can on folks so that we can constantly let them know, you know, who we are and what we do and why they need to use us, you know. Because there's a lot of things that, you know, Facebook, there's a lot of things that the buyer doesn't know that we need to inform them of. Here's another thing. I've talked about this in my morning videos a couple times. What is it? There it is. This is a list of 100 different things. I got this on Zillow. 100 different blogging ideas, things that you can talk about. You can talk about this in your posts. You can talk about this in your ads. Also, guys, keep in mind, I hope you guys watch my morning videos. I put them up there just as an informational for you guys, so you guys can keep up currently on whatever going on in the mortgage world and the marketing world. If you want me to appear in some ads with you, I'll do videos with you. If you got a podcast you think you want to do, I'll appear in that with you. If you want to do long form or short form, I don't really care. I own investment properties. If you want to sit there and talk about investment properties for an hour, we can do that. I did a class a couple of weeks ago, how to sell investment properties to millennials. I'm happily to sit there and talk about how to sell investment properties to millennials for an hour if you want. Anything that's relevant in the real estate world. It doesn't even have to be about mortgages. If you just simply want somebody to sit there with you and do it, I'll do it that way. Just because, you know, putting yourself out there on cameras can be a scary thing for sure, you know. And talking into an empty camera is no fun for anybody. So if you can, you know, if you just want to sit here and record us having a conversation, that might be a more engaging of a concept than, I don't know, a bunch of other things, you know. But you know, it's you know, if you're gonna run ads, it definitely helps if you put your face at the forefront of it, you know. And so, you know, like I said, guys, I'm happy to sit there and we can make 60-second videos if you want. You can come to the office, we'll make 15, 60-second videos about anything you want to talk about. So anyway. Okay, you guys have any other questions so far? I know it's a lot, guys. I know it's a lot. But once your buyers start coming in, and then you come to you come into KV Core one day, you go in your CRM, and you can see that somebody was in here looking at houses 11 days ago, because I don't have a lot of buyers. I'm not running real estate ads so much. I will maybe just for this. I'm running mortgage ads. Let's go to a different location. But you can see that this person was looking at whatever it is, And it's like, you know, I'm not even following up with these folks. I'm running this as an experiment ultimately, you know? So, okay. Thanks, Deborah. Guys, actually we're over the hour here. So, if you guys have any questions, again, you can always email me, you can text me. You guys got any mortgage leads? Lily and I are happy to qualify your mortgage leads. I do these ads just to let you guys, I do these classes to get you educated and help you get buyers. And so me and Lily can be a part of your business, you know, because, you know, I know that if I can help you get leads and do deals, we want to be able to do mortgages with you guys, you know? And so I think that there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's no other mortgage people out there that are going to sit here and teach you how to run Facebook ads on a weekly basis. If you have listings, I have another ad that you can't see in this dashboard, but I have another ad that I run where I run ad, I have a continuously running ad just for other people's listings. So if you want me to advertise your listing for you, I will do that on my own dime. Okay. Anyway, so appreciate you guys spending some time with me here. And so again, you can always call me and we can talk about anything you want to talk about. All right.
Thank you, Brian.
You're very welcome, guys. All right, guys. See you next week. We'll do this again next week.
Thank you.